Synchros is a mechanic in Yu-Gi-Oh! That is probably one of my favorite mechanics. I love Synchros, and of course, Synchros is basically you could actually have a tuner monster and a non-tuner monsters and use them to tune them up and go synchro summoning, and you can synchro summon your synchro monster from the extra deck. So example, let's say you want to summon a level 8 synchro monster, right? You need a level 4 tuner monster and a level 4 non-tuner monster. Tune them up and then go for synchro summoning of your level 8 synchro monsters. Or, or any other type of level, depending on what it is. But when you do a tuning and a non-tuning, it has to have the combined levels of that synchro monster, and they got to be equal to the combined levels of it. And also for years, there has other ways that you can synchro. Like for example, there have been XL synchro, which means you can go for use a synchro tuner and another synchro monster or etc. and go for your XL synchro. Or the time there was this one synchro monster like Red Nova Dragon that you can actually do double tuning. Double tuning is basically you can use two tuner monsters and go for your double tuning to a synchro monster. And in this video, I'm going to be doing my top 10 favorite synchro monsters. So let's get this started. So here we go. It's time to What's up, everybody? This is Domingo Hero Network, and today's Yu-Gi-Oh video I'm going to be doing my top 10 favorite synchro monsters. And I gotta say, I love synchros. Synchros is one of my favorite mechanics. I love synchros so much. Very easy to synchro summon. All this stuff is really, really good. I love this mechanic ever since the Yu-Gi-Oh 5Ds era when it first came out. And I gotta say, when the whole synchro mechanic first came out, I loved it. I really loved it. And I remember I was saving up money trying to get singles and stuff. There's like so many, when I was a kid and all that stuff, and I love singles so much ever since the Yu-Gi-Oh 5Ds eras. Yu-Gi-Oh 5Ds was one of my favorite animated shows growing up. And I gotta say, there's so many single monsters that I love, but I only had to pick only 10. So I'm gonna do my top 10 favorite single monsters. So let's not waste any time. Without further ado, let's get this started. So here we go. Number 10, Sun Dragon NT. Now, Sun Dragon NT, I love this single monster ever since in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Fighting anime. There was a guy named Rex Goodwin who is both a signer and a dark signer who has possessed the power of the light and dark and tried to take over the world. He was trying to rule the world and trying to make it under his own image before he was defeated and stopped by 3 men in a 3-on-1 duel. It was Rex Goodwin versus Yusei Fudo, Jack Atlas, and Crow Hogan. And I remember during this duel, Rex Goodwin actually summoned the single monster Sun Dragon NT. When I first saw Sun Dragon NT, I fell in love because 3,000 attacks is really good, and his effect is amazing as well. When Sun Dragon NT is destroyed, the opponent's monster that destroyed this card is also destroyed, and your opponent takes damage. You can have the attack of that destroyed monster's attack points. Really, really good. It's like, if I'm going down, I'm taking you with me. And that's what the effect of Sun Dragon is. And of course, your opponent take half the damage as well. It's really good. I really love it. Not to mention, this card and Smooth Dragon Quia together, when they special summon each other from the grave, or when they send for the grave to special summon one another, it's really amazing. And I gotta say, the Sun and Moon Dragon deck, which is Rex Goodwin's deck, is really fun. This is one of his favorite single monsters right here. And I love Sun Dragon. I love the artwork and the fact everything, the background, the story, and not to mention in the Yu-Gi-Oh anime show, and it's really amazing. I love this card so much. All right, number 9, Odin, Father of the Aesir. I gotta say, there are 3 Aesir synchro monsters, aka the Nordic gods. There's Odin, there's Thorn, and there's Loki. But out of all 3 of them, my favorite one out of all 3 is definitely Odin. And Odin, seeing this. Of course, the Nordic gods from a team called Team Ragnarok from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds in the anime. Of course, there are synchro monsters. It's definitely the Nordic gods with Odin, Thorn, and Loki. And I gotta say, I love Odin just because, the background history. I remember watching the Yu-Gi-Oh! Fighting anime when they summon out this card. I love the effect of Odin. Of course, attack points of 4,000 as well. The effect is really amazing. Of course, this is the card that, during the end phase, the same turn that it was destroyed, set in the graveyard, banish your tuner, Nordic tuner, and then special summon this card from the graveyard. And then when you do that, you draw one card. He also has another effect that once per turn, you can actually make him unaffected by spells and traps into the infinite. Like, it's really amazing. And I love the effect of this card. It's really amazing. I mean, very easy to summon very easy to single summon when you play Nordic, especially if you got that tuner monster, Valkyrie on the Nordic Assailant. Very easy to do. And also there's another turn that you can summon out this card with Vendiness as well. And everything about Odin is amazing. Like, he's the old man of the Synchro. He's amazing. Like, everything about Odin is amazing. I love everything about it. Background, artwork, effect, in the anime with Teen Ragnarok on YUGIOHVIDEO, it's really amazing. Love Odin. Alright, number 8. Michael the Arch Light Swarm. Michael is amazing, I love Lightsworn. Lightsworn is this old school nostalgia deck from back in the days. And I remember they actually made a Synchro monster for that archetype, which is Michael. And Michael the Arch Lightsworn, oh my god, really awesome Synchro monster for Lightsworns. Like, level 7, very easy to Synchro summon. I love the effect of Michael when, you pay 1,000, you target a card in the field and banish. Basically target and banish a card. And it's really, really good. Not to mention he has a recycling effect to, recycle all your life ones and you're going to shove them into the deck and stuff. Like, it is really, really good. And I have to say, Michael has an amazing artwork. And I love the name too, Michael the Arch Lightsworn, The name is really good. The background, the artwork, and the effect. Everything about this card is amazing and it's really awesome. And I love Lightsworn so much. And I definitely played this card in Lightsworn because it really helped out Lightsworns a lot, like, really, especially with recycling effect too. Alright, number 7. Baxia Brightness of the YangZing. Now, YangZing is one of my favorite decks, and I love all the YangZing singles, but out of all of them, my favorite one out of all of them, gotta go with Baxia. And Baxia, I love this card, especially because it has a recycling effect. When the Synchro summon with the different attributes of worm types. And then, not only that, but also has this effect that, you target a card you control, destroy an special summon level 4 lower monster from your graveyard once per turn. And the good thing about this card, there was a Baxia loop with this card and a level 4 Synchro monster called Herald of the Artlight. Herald of the Artlight, the one that says, tribute to negate a spell, trap, and a monster effect. And with that card, and you could summon out the Herald using Baxia's effect. And then you could do that, once per turn, and then you could get a chance to go with Herald, and then you activate Herald's effect, tribute, negate, destroy, and then the next turn, so get back to its effect, special summon the Herald, and do it all over again, like every once per turn. Like, it's amazing. Like, that is a really amazing, Baxia loop with the Herald, the art, like, and I loved it. I love that Baxia loop. I love the recycling effect of it. Everything about this card is really, really good. And also, I remember when this first card came out, I remember when Konami was making this card and all the printing and all that stuff, they accidentally spelled Synchro wrong with Baxia. And then when this card got a reprint a few years later, they actually fixed the name Synchro, and now it says Synchro in Baxia. So yes, so this one is the reprint one. Because the original one was spelled Synchro wrong, because Konami, when they make this card, they accidentally spell Synchro wrong for Baxia. But when this card got a reprint, and this is the reprint card, they fixed the name Synchro, so it's better now. It's a crazy story there at that time. Alright, number 6. Sign Frame Lore Omega. Sign for Lore Omega is a very good level 8 Synchro monster. Like, this card is amazing, especially when you activate this card, you banish face a card, and you banish, and then you can banish one random card from your opponent's hand. You get that effect once per turn, and it also has a recycling effect. Recycle himself, and then target the banished card, and then put it in your graveyard, and then banish the card in the graveyard as well. Omega, there's a lot of good plays, especially with the hand loop. Once per turn, banish this card and take one card from your opponent's hand and just banish it once per turn and stuff. Like, it's really, really good. Like, it's really amazing. And Sign for Lore Omega, there's so much play you could do with this card, and that's probably one of the reasons why this card is limited and at this time in the current format, because of how the hand loop and getting rid of your opponent's hand and stuff like that. And it's really amazing. And I love Omega. Like, I love this how this artwork looks. Everything about Omega like is pretty amazing. Especially in this card, you could play any deck like Side Frames or Lightsworns or Scrap or any other deck or maybe YangZings too. Any deck involving Synchros definitely could play Omega because Omega is awesome. All right, number 5. Beatles of the Diabolical Dragons. Oh man, I love Beatles. Beatles is amazing. Of course, I know his very good level of Synchro monster. Of course, his tuner has to be a dark tuner monster. It has to be a tuner monster with a dark attribute and a non-tuner monster. But despite that, Beatles is amazing. Especially if you play this card in YangZing, you have a dark tuner name. Jiao2 Dark YangZing, and it helps you go for your first turn Beatles. And Beatles' effect is amazing. Like, cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects. And then if if you take damage involving this card from battle by damage by card effect, it gains attack points equal to the damage I took. And wow, and it's really amazing. And the good thing about this card is that if you play this in YangZings, you go Giotto, then you go for, let's say, like a Bixie and a Sawani, combine a 2, 2, and 4, that's 8. And then you can have Beatles unaffected by traps with Bixie's effect, and then Sawani's effect give him the extra 500 attack and defense. That is so cool. Like, I love that. I like that option. It's really, really good. Pretty amazing as well. Like, I just love, excuse me, I just like love Beatles so much when this card first came out. Like, I fell in love with this card when it first came out, you know, having it because of the effect, because of the artwork and stuff. Like, cannot be destroyed by battle by card effects. Ooh, that's actually really good. Love it. Alright. Number 4. Glacier Beast Iceberg Narwhal. Iceberg Narwhal is really good. I love the single monster. I know it came out a few months ago, but I gotta say, this is the card, you know, there was like a female girl, I forgot her name, but she was from YuGIOHVIDEO, and she actually played the Glacier Beast. Of course, even though Glacier Beast got like 3 cards, which is this card, and then the Tuna Monster, Polar Penguin, and the non-Tuna, which is Blizzard Wolf, it's really good for like water decks if you play the Glacier Beast engine. It's good for like water decks like Ice Bears or Penguins or Mermels or Atlanteans or or basically or Sharks or any other water deck. And I love the art type of this card. I love that, I remember they summoned this card, in Yu-Gi-Oh! RV in the show. And, and it's really amazing. Like, Glacial Beast Iceberg Normal really good. I know some people say when Glacial Beast first came out, right, in the TCG, right, when they first came out, people say, oh, it had a bad start. It was only 3 cards. And I actually think they're good. I think they're good, like, if you mix it up with other water decks, I think they could work out fine. And I love the effect as well, like, negating an opponent's card if you control another monster and all that stuff. And also flick 600 points of damage your opponent. Love the artwork from Glacier Beast Iceberg. I played this deck in my Ice Bear deck, and this card is really good in Ice Bear. It's good for any water decks, and I love Iceberg Narwhal. Narwhal is really amazing. And a pretty good and unique effect as well. I'm not going to lie. Like, I love the effect of this card as well. It's pretty cool. Yep, it's really, really cool. Alright, number 3. Bryonic Dragon of the Iceberg. I love this card so much because, the scarring your opponent's hand, discarding cards from your hand, and then bounce back cards your opponent controls is really amazing. Now, I gotta say, when this card first came out, I remember I used to say, discard many cards from your hand, and then target any number of cards on the field and return them to the hand. And I remember the card got banned, and then when it came out the ban list, they gave this card an errata, which is not that bad. I think it's still good, even though it has an errata. And the errata says, when you discard any number of cards from your hand, you can only target the cards, the same number of cards your opponent controls, and return those cards to the hand, and you get that effect once per turn. So even though it got an errata, so basically it's like a little nerf, Bryonic is still pretty good. It's still pretty good because they had a nerf because of how broken it was when it first came out back in the days. Because of how broken it is with the scarring and the loot. This card was good for Iceberg. This card was good for any decks, especially with Fables and Dark Ones and basically any other deck. And Bryonic is a really good level 6 Synchro Tuna monster. Bouncing back stuff, the scarring stuff, and get your plays and stuff like that. It's really, really good. And even though it's not it's not what it used to. It's not broken anymore because the errata and stuff like that. It's still pretty good. I still love the Bionic, even though it got a nerf, but it's still pretty good. And I love Bionic. Bionic is a great synchro monster, level 6. All right, number 2, Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Spirits. And speaking of Ice Spirit synchro, here's another one. We got Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Spirit, and I gotta say, Trishula, one of my favorites. I love Trishula so much, especially when the synchro summon, banish 3 cards on your opponent's side, like one from the hand randomly, one from the field, and one card from the graveyard. Banish those cards. Like, it's really, really good. Of course, it has to be synchro summon to do it. And there's also a level 9 synchro monster. Of course, the material has to require 1 tuner and then 2 or more non-tuner monsters. But Trishula is amazing. Banishing cards your opponent. Banishing cards from your opponent, one for the hand, one for the field, one for the graveyard. Really, really good. It can mess up your play. It makes us the combos plays, and if they haven't set up plans, you just go for Trish, and then I'll synchro summon for Trish. I'll banish 1 card randomly from your hand. I'll banish 1 card in the field. I'll banish 1 card in the graveyard. It's basically banished 3 cards. It's basically banished 3 cards, and it's really amazing. Trishula is really good. Broken card. And, banishing your opponent's cards, 1 from hand, 1 from field, 1 from grave, it really helps out a lot. And I love Trishula. It's really, really good. And last but not certainly least, number 1, Scrap Dragon. Oh, yeah, Scrap Dragon is... I love this card. And when this card first came out, I fell in love with this card. I love the effect, target the card, you control target the card, your opponent, they both get destroyed. Second effect is like a monster ball, but only it's a special summon a non-synchro scrap monster. It's really, really good. And Scraps was one of my favorite decks, and Scrap Dragon is amazing. This card was, if you play Scraps and play this card, it really helps out, especially if you destroy your own scrap monster and you can get their effects and all that stuff. There's a lot of combos and plays that you can do. It's really amazing. It's really good. If you got this card with Scrap Factory stuff, you get the effect of Scrap Factory, whatever. You can pop your own Scapegoat token. You can pop one of your Scrap Monsters, or you can pop anything. You can even pop your back row too. Hell, you can pop a Scarecrow, or Dark Coffin, or anything else. And then, hell, you can even pop a card, and then you can get the effect, when it's destroyed, whatever, and then you go off there. And it's a lot of plays you can do with Scrap Dragon. Scrap Dragon really helps out a lot, and this card is good for any other decks. It could be good for Scraps, for YangZings, or for Fables, or any other deck. And I gotta say, Scrap Dragon is no doubt definitely deserved to be in the number 1 of my top 10 favorite synchro monsters. And that's it for this video, guys. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like this video, share, subscribe, post your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about my top 10 favorite synchro monster, and also let me know in the comment section below what is your favorite synchro monster, and also what is your top 10 favorite synchro monster. Let me know in the comment section below. And that's it for this video, guys. So this is Domingo Hero Network. All I can say is take care, have a good day, goodbye everyone. Domingo Hero Network signing out. Peace.